It's catching the attention of lawmakers in Washington.
Child exploitation over the internet is an epidemic, and it has been from my time as a prosecutor at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Families of child victims desperate to hold social media companies accountable.
If we're going to continue to give our kids the internet, the world at their fingertips, then we need to be able to hold the people that are on the other side of it accountable.
And pushing lawmakers to take action before it's too late.
There is responsibility and accountability that needs to be put on the social media and search engine empire that is making billions of dollars off us and our kids.
From Albany to Washington, we're holding state and local leaders to account, asking what they are doing before this happens to another child.
I think this is something that we're all concerned about. It's a priority for all of us.
They want to see social media companies held accountable, and they want lawmakers to be held to account to create, ways to stop this from happening to another family. What do you say to those families?
They're spot on, and they got to sing that song loud and clear.
Over the last half hour, Megan Coleman has been taking us through a lot of information, some of it very difficult to hear, about how children are being victimized.
Predators are targeting children right in their own homes, and they don't need a key to get in, just a device and an internet connection.
The scope of this story, as you've learned by now, is scary. We're talking about children being coerced into sharing compromising sexual photos or videos of themselves with sometimes devastating and irreversible consequences. So who fixes this?
Well, we showed you the families suffering from sextortion cases and spoke with those tasked with tracking it down. But as every case closes, dozens more open. And these parents say lawmakers and social media companies need to do more to stop this from happening. Last year, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC, received more than 29 million reports of child sexual exploitation, including nearly 85 million images, videos, and content. The year before, at the height of the pandemic, the agency had the highest number of reports ever received by its cyber tip line. The vast majority of reports came from Facebook, but there were also explicit images of children reported on Google, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, and Omegle. According to the center, here are the 5 most common tactics used to entice children: engaging in sexual conversation or role-playing, developing a rapport or grooming through compliments, discussing shared interests and liking their online posts, asking the child for sexually explicit images or sending those pictures themselves, and offering incentives like gift cards, alcohol, drugs, lodging, transportation, and food.
One of the experts told you that sometimes it's leveling up in a game. We know so many kids game, and getting to the next level is such a big thing. They can give you a cheat code and get to the next level of a game, and that's what triggers it.
Then they might lure in your child.
So let's get to the lawmakers, because they're in power. They write the laws. We have a congressman here in the Syracuse area, John Katko. He has experience in the federal prosecutor's office, and now on the legislative side in Washington.
That's right. Until he was elected to Congress, Representative John Katko spent his career as a federal prosecutor, where he was all too familiar with child exploitation cases. I pressed him for answers about what he can do now in Congress to protect children. During his 20-year career as a federal prosecutor, Congressman John Katko has become all too familiar with child exploitation over the internet, calling it an epidemic.
They made me sick to my stomach dealing with these animals out there who are predators for children. We at Congress owe it to this nation.
Now in his 4th term in Washington, he's in a position to hold social media companies accountable for what happens on their platforms. And after the deaths of Riley Bassford and Shylin Dixon in the North Country, pressure is mounting to do more to protect kids.
The vehicle really that was used was social media. These children had logged on to social media accounts, and that's how these predators were able to connect with them. What laws are currently on the books to hold social media companies accountable for something like this?
Yeah, not enough. That's a constant tension we have right now. The problem is these people exploiting these websites act with such sophistication that it's almost impossible to trace back to them. The only thing they can do is shut it down when they become aware of it. And they need to do a better job of shutting that stuff down, and quite frankly.
Social media companies were put on the hot seat this fall when a whistleblower came forward saying Facebook has prioritized profits over public good. In October, Frances Haugen, a former Facebook product manager, testified before a Senate subcommittee, discussing the thousands of internal documents she leaked about the social media giant. She called on Congress to create better oversight, alleging Facebook created products that harm children. Congressman Kakko points to child exploitation on the internet, saying it should be a wake-up call for parents.
Parents need to understand that there's real exploitation going on the internet, and if you think it can happen to your children, you're just dreaming.
When it comes to prosecuting these cases, Kakko says it's incredibly difficult, saying predators use fake names and fake profiles, making it challenging to trace who's actually behind the computer.
In your time as a federal prosecutor working in collaboration with the FBI, were you able to successfully extradite a predator from another country back here to face charges in this sort of way?
But extradition is extraordinarily difficult. In the child pornography realm especially, it's very, very difficult because it's almost impossible to locate them.
If prosecutors can identify a suspect, getting that person back to the U.S. to face charges is the next step if countries cooperate.
A law enforcement source has told me that when they are able to identify these people, if they're in a country where we do not have a relationship with them, that becomes the challenge because they know where the people are, but they are not able to successfully extradite them. Is there more that we can be doing?
One way we can do that is have that as an adjunct to trade agreements. For example, yeah, we'll have a trade agreement with you and we want to do business with you, but when you have pieces of garbage over there that are exploiting our children and we know who they are, you got to allow us to extradite them.
Congressman Kakko says the first step is preventing this from happening. He supports creating a grant program to give schools the resources they need to teach internet safety in schools.
Is there anything else that Congress is doing right now that might be a concrete solution to all that's going on here?
Well, right now, a bill meant to protect kids from predators is making its way through Congress. The Earn It Act would strip tech companies of legal protections if they fail to search for and remove child abuse and allow victims and states to bring civil and criminal lawsuits against them. It would also require companies to provide information to help identify the children victimized. The bill was approved by the Senate Judiciary Committee. It now heads to the full Senate. Yoda Soros is the general counsel for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and says the Earn It Act is our best chance to keep kids safe.
Is this the kind of real change that's needed to hold social media companies accountable and to protect our kids?
So, I always say these bills are, tremendously impactful, but this is really multifaceted. And I think we have to continue to keep that in mind. No one bill is going to fix the problem of children being sexually abused and their images being distributed online. Earn It Act will take us, much closer to the goals of trying to seriously address those problems. But, if we look at kind of what else is needed, tremendous education and prevention is needed around this problem.
You know this better than anyone. There has been an explosion of cases, certainly during the pandemic when more children have been online. How urgent is it for members of Congress to take this legislation seriously?
Again, it's the most comprehensive child protection bill that is out there right now. Our numbers at NCMEC, as I'm sure you've seen on our website, continue to explode. We had over 29 million reports relating to child sexual exploitation made to our cyber tip line last year. The numbers continue to grow. The volume of actual videos and images reported to us continue to grow. The amount of video content continues to grow. So this is a problem that needs to have a solution. And right now, Earn It is the best solution that's out there. And that's why.
The Earn It Act will also create a commission to establish best practices for tech companies to deal with this issue. And it will also change, Michael, the term child pornography to child sexual abuse material, essentially calling it what it is.
That, I think, is important because I think that's a start. And we could do that here. I could do that on the news every night. I mean, why glorify it by emphasizing what the sickos are doing with the material and I suppose put the emphasis on where the victimization is happening? It really is material that's exploiting children.
Well, because as Soros said, pornography is legal for consenting adults. there's nothing legal about abusing a child.
No, nor should there be, and there won't be in this country, that's for sure. I can't help but listen to Congressman Katko and also the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and realize that our hope cannot be pinned on Congress here right now. Because the FBI is telling you there's a child right now while the parents are downstairs doing dinner that's being groomed for this in their bedroom upstairs.
That's right. And so there's more that needs to be done. Parents, there are things that we can be doing, conversations we can be having with our children to keep them safe.
Yeah, let's hope. Coming up, taking the education and the prevention that Megan is talking about directly to schools.
We'll meet a man who's teaching online safety in the classroom when he says your child should first be allowed on social media and have their own electronic device.